Hello 8th graders, I have a video here for you to learn about fire and how to create fire in Photoshop. First, you need to create a new Photoshop document. Always title it with your last name, what the project is, and your hour. Double check to make sure you have width, height, and resolution set. Once you do, go ahead, hit OK. When you see your white canvas pop up, then we're ready to work. The first thing I want you to notice though is over here when the background is highlighted that there is a lock symbol. I ask you a question. Why would there be a lock? Here it says it indicates that the layer is partially locked. As an art teacher, I want you to have the freedom to move whatever it is that you're working on. So we are going to pay attention to this and make sure that we're working on an unlocked layer. With that said, first things first, you need to take this and turn it black. How do you do that? Please notice over here, we have a couple layers. I'm going to click on the top layer. When you click on the top layer, you can click in the lower right-hand corner to get the new truest black. Once I do so, I'm hitting OK. Now, looking in that area, the black is highlighted. Again, please notice it's the top square. Over on the sidebar, we're going to be working with a couple of tools. We're going to work with the Paintbrush Tool, and we are going to work with the Paint Bucket and the Smudge Tool. But you might not actually see that. So what I want you to notice for the Paint Bucket, when I hit Control on the Paint Bucket, I see Gradient Tool, and that's how your screen probably is looking at this time. I'm going to Control click, find the Paint Bucket, and at that point, now I can click on my background and I have a black background. This space is kind of small. If I want to set up my viewfinder, if I click on Fit on Screen, I can see what I'm working with a little bit better now. Okay, what did you notice? Did you notice that this turned black? If so, perfect. I'm glad you're aware of that. I want to add my fire though, and I don't want to add it to this locked in black layer. So what I need to do is I need to go to Layer, New Layer, I'm going to hit OK, but what I really want you to notice is under Color, it says None. That'll be perfect for when we make our fire. Okay? All right, so please notice over here, we've got the locked black background and another layer on top. The checkered board is actually giving you the information that it is see-through or transparent. We are now going to use our paintbrush. Did you by chance notice that there were two paintbrushes, one on the top and one below? We're going to click on the top paintbrush. When you are in Tools, you will always see what tool you're working on up here. And when we work with the paintbrush tool, there's two things I want you to notice. I'm going to click here. The first thing I want you to notice is that there's a couple different types of edges. Please click on the round hard edge. Okay. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to notice that you can change the size. So right now my brush is huge and too big, really. Here my brush is much smaller. The size you're looking for is 700. Hit return. And there we go. I am going to make a realistic fire. So I'm going to use like the reds, oranges, and yellows. You have the freedom to make whatever kind of fire you would like. But if you are going to end up making fire that is orange and blue, please think about the color wheel and colors that are next to each other when you select your colors. I chose red, a really bright red, and I'm going to click once. Oh, okay, it worked. I also want you to notice over here, we can see the red dot. Next step, I'm going to go in and I'm going to change my 700 to 600. And we're going to go down every couple hundred. I'm going to click on the red because I don't want red anymore. I want to work with some oranges. I'm going to click OK. And now it'll start looking like I'm making a target. I'm going to change to 500. Oh, what happened here? Let's try to close this value. Oh, I meant to hit 500. I'm glad it said something. I'm going to change it to, it says 5,000 right now. I need to change it to 500. All right, we're back in business. Gotta change my color. As I'm doing this, I want you guys to think about having a minimum of 5 different values. This, what you're doing today, is practice, but next class, it's for your final copy. Here we go. All right, so now please look over here. I've got my background in one layer. I've got my fire in a second layer. What I want you to notice is that this just kind of looks like a target. It's time to soften my edges. For that, I'm going to use the tool underneath the paint bucket. This is my smudge tool. I'm wondering if maybe you see the blur tool or a teardrop. If so, click on Control and find the smudge. The smudge tool, when you look up here again, you're going to notice that it has the finger to let me know what tool I'm using. And here you'll notice that it shifted it to a soft edge. That's fine, and I'm working around the 100s. That's what you'd want to use. If you go too big, it slows down your process. Here's some things I want you to think of. If I were to make my fire look like, oh, see how it's going? It's going up. It's going to go slowly. I'm going to actually change it to a hard edge. I feel like it goes quicker when I do that for a little bit. If I were to pull it up, it might give the illusion that my fire is just going straight up. And for that, sometimes I like to zigzag to let it look like my fire is inconsistent or the wind is blowing it. I'm noticing it's going slowly, so I'm actually going to make my smudge size smaller because I feel like it's going to make this go quicker. And so now I'm letting this bottom layer overlap. I'm sometimes going to do the same swoosh over and over again because that'll just make my fire longer. And I'm going to continue just working on this. If I wanted my fire to look like it's combusting, then I would work with my fire going in multiple directions. If I wanted my fire to look like it's going out of my mouth or I'm blowing it, it would all go in one direction. Those are things that I want you to think about. I'm going to move this up a little bit. Might take a moment. And I'm going to just kind of trail this a little bit because I don't like those hard edges around the sides of the fire. All right. So here's some other things I want you to notice. My layers are changing, and because it's not locked, this is going to allow me that I can edit it a little bit. As a matter of fact, I can transform it, meaning if I go to Edit Transform Scale, I can make it bigger, I can flatten it. If I hit Return, it gets less pixelated. If I want to, I can go to Edit, Transform. I could rotate it 180 degrees, which just kind of flips it around, or 90 degrees, or I can go to Edit, Transform, Distort, where I can now pull my fire one way or down to another, and it just kind of like distorts the fire a little bit more. I want you to feel free to play with it. Remember, every time you have to hit Return to make sure it sets in there. If I go to Edit, Transform, Warp, then I can actually pull like one side up, another side up. I can pull this side down. And it allows me to just have some more freedom with changing the size and the perspective of the fire. This is as far as I want you to get today. So if you have extra time at the end of the hour, then go ahead, try playing with fire with different colors. Hope that helps. Good luck. And also, think about how maybe you can make fire or take pictures at home using your own personal props. Like maybe you want your fire to come out of a trumpet or out of your lacrosse stick or out of a guitar, or maybe you're going to paint with fire. Start thinking about how or where you can use fire in a creative way. Hope that helps.
This is a demonstration of how to create